I think also what you mentioned about resilience, about going through hardship, it requires pain. The main thing that's the undercurrent, and I think this is important for all men, is that I think the greatest.
Right, so I was just explaining that I'm helping you doing the marketing stuff, your newsletter and so forth, maybe talking about a different concept. My research on your content, and I really love what you do.
That's a great question. When I look at that chart of the levels of consciousness, I studied that.
Actually do this, what you just laid out for us, is by being able to like,
where you don't know anyone and create the new life, the new environment that you want, be the new person you want to be.
Hi, John.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you doing, man?
Good, real good. How are you?
I'm Roman. Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
I'm just waiting for Alvaro to join us.
Okay.
He's got to be here in a second. He already confirmed. So first of all, thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. I checked out I did my research on your content, and I really love what you do. Pretty inspiring stuff, and you've got a lot on your plate as well, like programming, and you're teaching men how to become excellent. And there's amazing stuff. And so let me just explain to you. Yeah, he's coming right now. Give me a second. He's seeing me. Oh, he didn't get the link. Where's the link for the meeting again?
Oh, it should be in the calendar invite. Let me
So
see.
do you speak Spanish?
I don't know.
And we have, don't know worry. He's not very good at English, but he does understand, and he does speak a little. I mean, you'll see.
Okay.
I'll do the explaining. Give me one moment. It's on my calendar link, right?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it here.
Okay, right here.
You got it. Okay. And then how are we doing the podcast? Like, how are we recording this or?
So, are you recording right now? But this is a good question.
I do have the cloud recording on. Yeah.
So let me just explain first what this is about. So, and then we can get to because the idea in my explanation, you will see how this is. Because to be honest, I'm working with Jerry. Jerry is his real name, and so I'm starting new things for him. Like I started a newsletter for him, and also I'm doing his a new strategy because he's been a dating coach for 16 years, and he's very well known in the Spanish world, like the Hispanic speaking world. He's got, I don't know if you've seen his YouTube channel, but he's had videos with tens of millions of views for many years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Teaching men. He's got 1.3 million on YouTube, and his videos from 12 years ago have 20 million views, something like that. So it's really, he's got very well known, recognized so the last year or so, he's had a little bit of, it went a little bit down, and so he's trying to get himself into like some more in an entrepreneurial space, but away from only teaching young guys to, you know what I mean? So yeah. I'm just trying to, what I was doing is I just was reaching out, networking, seeing other guys that for example, in America, like you, and that sort of, that here is coming. Okay, let me just introduce the two of you.
Okay.
Hey, Jerry.
Hey, how are you, Som?
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, bro. From Brazil right now.
Okay.
Jerry, I'm just basically just explaining to John how everything started, why I'm introducing you guys to each other, and the idea behind this meeting, right? So I was just explaining that I'm helping you doing the marketing stuff, your newsletter and so forth. And so I was researching on important public figures like influencers like John. And so I really loved his content, Jerry, because he's like also on masculinity, teaching men how to become excellent. He's got an amazing entrepreneur. He's also a lot of background in programming. He's got another company on LinkedIn. If you check his LinkedIn profile, very profound.
I've been seeing him, and that's really nice. I love your content, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, the production quality, everything is like really on point, and it's just inspiring to young guys. And so now on Jerry's side, Jerry is the best dating coach out there, I know, and this is not an exaggeration. I've helped him creating videos in Mexico. He lived a year or so in my house, and so we got to know each other. We're friends, right? So the first part, it was really a friendship. He also helped me to get my personal issues solved back then. He coached me, and so he's from Spain. I'm from Germany. You might have noticed my accent. But we sort of got to know each other like 7-8 years ago back in Mexico when I lived there. And I had a nanotech startup that I built from scratch. And then so that's how we got to meet each other. And he's very inspiring too, because he can really, because you teach cold approach, right? In your video that showcased of your first video. It's just, I love that, because this is what most guys basically holding them back. They're not even, nowadays even worse with everyone glued to the cell cell phone and not able to talk to women. And so this is where Jerry really excels. Like, he's the best cold approach guy I know. And also he really genuinely loves, helping men, because I know that because I've seen it, because he get a lot of flack from, he's had attacks from feminist groups in Spain, and like really bad. So he basically left Spain and went to Mexico, and now he's starting to tour all around the Latin American world mostly. So after I had here's where I come in. I had a bankruptcy during the pandemic, lost my nanotech startup after 13 years. It was a 7-figure business, and then I had to start over again. So for the last 2 years now, I've been sort of, trying to get on my horse, so to speak, again, and now I'm doing business consultation and also ghostwriting, like a ghostwriting agency. So this is how I started his newsletter, and now I'm trying to build a different, like just trying new things, experiment, get new results, and talk to people that have actually some track record and a inspiring story as well. And so this is just an experiment, John. So we're not trying to get anything from you. We're just trying to so meet and maybe we're just friends now. And I don't know where this leads. We don't know. But I just want to thank you for saying yes to the meeting, basically.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad to. Yeah. I was thinking it was a podcast that we're doing. Is that?
Yeah, that's actually the idea, John.
Okay.
That's actually the idea. I'm building a podcast. And so you're just basically the first person. You're actually the first person who has said yes to this. I started last. So a lot of people signed because since Jerry has a large following, everyone says yes. But yes, it's just the beginning of something, or hopefully it's the beginning of something that's turning into a podcast. That was my idea. Jerry was a little bit skeptical. So what are you trying here? I don't even, he was like, Robert, what are you doing? And so
the thing is my audience is Spanish speakers, they speak Spanish. I've been working on YouTube since 12 years. I have 1,200,000 followers. So yeah, Roman say me, let's do it, and I'm going to do it. So maybe he's going to make a podcast, but maybe I can take some things of the podcast to upload to my YouTube channel,
Yeah.
So there is good information and good things. I'm going to take it to upload to my YouTube channel. So maybe a lot of people from USA also know you, everything. So yeah, it's going to be nice.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, because you also have a lot of Spanish speaking guys are actually located in the US. Not the bigger part. A big chunk of it lives in the US. I think you're in San Diego, right, John?
Yes.
So half of San Diego speaks Spanish, don't they?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I've been in San Diego and not so much people speak Spanish. I was with mentality, but when I've been in San Diego, in Los Angeles, I've been with Mystery, Eric von Markovic, who is a dating coach there, and he was televised in NBC. I don't know where he been televised. I've been with Tyler of RSD. I've been with Ty Lopez. I've been in the mansion of Ty Lopez doing networking. So yeah, I think that we have a lot of people in common. So do it.
Know Mystery, John?
I haven't met him personally, but
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
He's in Bali right now, where I am.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. And back like a few years ago, we went on a birthday party with Jerry's birthday party in Cancun, and we were hanging out with Mark, with Mystery in Cancun. So this was all fun. Yeah, and Baxter, you know Baxter?
No.
Baxter is wingman of Mystery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because Mystery is like sort of this godfather or the he started all the same. Yeah. So, John, well, that's a podcast. So I'm just gonna ask you a few questions. Like for example, because
let's record that, no?
It's recorded, yes. We're in real life. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Fair enough.
Yeah. So my first question for you, John, would be how did you? I was going to start with the struggle thing for you, because in your transformation, inspiring teacher or mentor, so to speak, which your role here is that. What was your? Because in the video I watched, the last one I watched, there is already like transformation where you had problems talking to girls and everything, but your transformation not only let's say pickup artist, but more like an entrepreneur. What was for you like the biggest challenge on your journey, John?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge was getting over the victim mindset, right? It's so ingrained in so many people, we don't even realize that we have it. And I started to wake up and realize that a lot of the things that my circumstances, I was blaming on other things instead of taking responsibility myself. And then once I had really realized that, or really started to think, okay, everything is my fault. I take responsibility for everything. I'm not going to blame anyone, no matter what happened. It's my responsibility because I have to deal with it in my life. No one else is going to come to save me. No one else is going to come and help me out. No one else is going to create the future that I want to create. And so I think once I had overcome overcome that, that's when all the doors opened up for me. That's when you can make the real changes in your life. And that's when I started to say, okay, well, if I want this to change, I have to make this change. It's not going to happen automatically. No one else is going to do this for me. It doesn't matter if the deck is stacked against me or if it's going to be difficult. It's something that I have to do myself. So
yeah, I totally agree. What I like about your message in that particular video I watched is that just also like the change is you, right? So your body, your physical appearance does matter a lot. Like, I mean, it's also part of that mindset. Because if you're able to change yourself, it's like the ultimate superpower in my mind, in my opinion, right? So, and it's also this entrepreneurial element to everything. Like, you can't really change anything out in your outside world unless you change this first mindset, right? So this personal responsibility mindset. Yeah.
Yeah, the external, I strongly believe, is a reflection of the internal. If you, whatever your external world is, even your external appearance is a reflection of the internal. And if you try to change the external, it's temporary in nature. But if you change the internal, then the external will change with that. And so I think too many people are focused on changing the external, trying to do quick hack, get money, get girls, appearance, like these things, but they're not working on the internal. Because if you change the internal, then the external, it has to change. It cannot stay the same.
Exactly. What I'm seeing, and right now there is a lot of people talking about if you want to be a good man and you want to be an alpha, first you need to have money, so they are focusing on the external. But I think that if you have a lot of money or you make money, but you are insecure inside, you are going to be the same. So for you, John, which internal change do you think is the most important to do in order to achieve better results?
I think the most important thing, the one thing I like to say all the time is that identity is the most powerful force in the universe. So I think it's identity. You have to embrace a new identity. You have to see yourself in a different way, right? One of my favorite books by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetic, he talks about this powerful, how the self-image is something that you can't overcome. However you see yourself, you can temporarily change things, but you're always going to default back to that. And that really, I think, is a fundamental truth. And so I think it's really changing the identity, having this vision of yourself, right? Of who you want to become, doing the actions that reinforce that, being in the environment that reinforces that. And, because we're a product of our environment. And so, if you take a cucumber and you put it in a pickle brine, it's going to become a pickle. So what you brine in. And so if we change our environment, if we change the people we're around, what we consume, the media we consume, the content that we consume, the food that we consume, right? All of these things, then we change our identity of ourselves. And that is what really leads to the fundamental external changes that we're seeking.
Yeah, this is so huge.
Talk, Roman.
Yeah, this what you just mentioned is so spot on, because it's also like when I want to come look at it from a perspective of when you're because things usually don't just play out, easily. So when guys are faced like difficult situations, like when they, for example, I'm just going to pull my own story here, things fall apart, right? Boom, now you lose, or I don't know, because for me it was like this loss. When I lost my company, I lost my identity. Like I thought, okay, now you're not a CEO anymore, what fuck? And so what comes next is like you actually have to reinvent yourself, and then the resilience part of it cannot achieve it without going through this hard, bad stuff, right? It's just a necessary component. And so my question to you is, frame it as question, is like how big of a thing, or how big of a important element is to that concept of monk mode, where you just completely isolate yourself, get on track again? Because I did that and I think it's working, but I want to talk to, what's your opinion on that? Because sometimes it's just better to remove yourself from the complete equation, and then just to allow that what you just explained to us to happen, right? Not having these negative influences having influence on you, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's extremely important, because a lot of people struggle to change their identity because they're in the same environment. And so if you want to really change something, sometimes the best thing to do, sometimes my coaching clients, I tell them, hey, go ahead and move somewhere where you don't know anyone, and create the new life, the new environment that you want, be the new person you want to be. Because a lot of times these connections that we have, especially the bad ones, people we need to eliminate from our life, they keep us where we're at because they are reinforcing that old identity. And so when you isolate and then you focus on your goals and focus on yourself and developing yourself, that's when you are going to grow the most. And that's when you have the ability to change yourself. I think also what you mentioned about resilience, about going through hardship, it requires pain. We have to, in order to really change and to produce growth from our change, we have to go and seek pain. We can't wait for the pain to come to us, because pain is coming for every single person in this life, no matter what. Pain is coming for you. And if you go out to meet the pain, you grow from it. If it has to drag you out from underneath your bed and pull you out into the street and beat you up, you don't really grow from that pain. It's the pain that you seek that causes you to grow. And that's frequently when you go into mode and you say, okay, I'm going to do hard things, right? Maybe training and running a marathon to increase your mental toughness, or, in a lot of guys situations, okay, I'm going to go and talk to 10 girls every single day, whatever it is that's going to put you in that uncomfortable situation where you're in pain, you're in an uncomfortable situation. That's what produces growth.
Yeah. Yes. So
And
true.
what was the changes you made in your past to change faster your identity? Because when you move to a different environment, you are always dealing with your mind. Your mind is the worst enemy, because the mind always want to carry to the past and attach to a different personality that is the personality you used to have. So for you, which is the biggest step or the fastest step to achieve the goals, okay, and reduce the voice of your mind?
I think the number one thing, there's a few different things I would say, but the number one thing is reading the right books. What really changed for me, if I look at my life and I say what most dramatically changed my life, it was actually choice to run, become a long distance run. And the reason why is because when I went on these long distance runs, I put audiobooks into my ears. And so I read hundreds and hundreds of books while doing these runs. That's my environment. That's what feeding into me, which is going to change me and shape my identity. And so by doing that, that had the greatest impact. Because again, like I said, your environment, have to change the environment. And so if you do something different, that will further.
Yeah, what you're doing there is called habit stacking, and I read a book called biggest book on habits is Atomic Habits.
From James Clear.
James, yeah, I love that book. So good. So that book actually made me. I mean, because I've been doing this digital nomad thing 2 years now, but it's not productive, because it's at odds with the rule number 2, which is make it easy for habits stack or to do. And so now I settled down in Bali, creating my new environment. Yeah, but really powerful stuff. I love that. Yeah, it's really cool. And so John, right now, where are you on your journey right now? So because I think your journey, you have several things going for you right now at the same time. Where's your priorities right now?
Yeah, so I'm at the point of a catharsis and a rebirth.
Okay,
So
that sounds interesting.
I reached I had a transformation and I became the new version of myself, and I reached the peak of that. And then I fell from grace. I had to fall down and went through a catharsis where I lost that identity. And only now, I would say in the last 6 months or so, have I found rebirth, because I can't be the same John Bulldog Mind that I was because it's not who I am now. And so I'm at the point now in my journey where I'm reinventing myself again. But I feel like every time you reinvent yourself, you go through these cycles, you have a bigger identity. It's a less specifically attached to a specific role, but it's a more encompassing identity of who you truly are. And so that's where I'm at right now. So before a few years ago, I was going out, I was going and picking up girls and guys, and now I'm married and I have a wonderful wife. It's our anniversary today. And
congratulations.
Thank you. What I'm focusing on now is helping. We do a podcast together called Better Than Perfect Podcast. So my wife and I help grow deeper and better relationships. So I'm focusing on those aspects. So things have shifted. It's an interesting time. My focus more is on the masculine aspects of responding in love, all things. That powerful thing that's missing from a lot of our interaction today, especially in men. So I've been focusing on those but yeah, very interesting journey, especially having lost that old identity, wanting to hold on to it, and now finding this new identity. I would pose, if you're familiar with the stages of man, Allison, I can't remember her name now, but essentially going from the prince stage to the king, that where I've been making that.
Yeah, I think we are on the same road, because I was dating coach for 14 years, and right now I'm in a relation. I'm trying to get engaged, and I'm trying to make something great. So I have to have a shift on my mind in order to have a new personality and give new content and everything. But right now we are working with men, and the men has a lot of struggles right now. The feminine, they are like very weak. They are people that are afraid of taking action. What are you seeing right now in the men, and what are the struggles you are seeing in your client that need to work most?
The biggest thing, if I had to identify, is that men today lack pride. They do not have pride in being. They want it easy. They think life is unfair. They think women have it easy. They think young women have it easy. They say, why don't women approach me? They say, why do I have to go and get rejected by girls? Why are the dating apps unfair? All of this, again, it's victim mindset, but it's a lack of pride. Exactly. Yeah. They want to be women. Exactly. Yeah. Right. We have women that want to be men, and we have men who want to be women. Yeah. They want to split the bills 50-50. If they want the women to pay, they want to be the king. They want the woman to respect them, but at the same time, they don't want to pay for the bill. They don't want to take care of a woman. And so it's because they lack pride. Because as a man, I have pride. It's harder for me, and I take pride in that. I want it to be harder for me. That's what it means to be a man. It has to mean something. And so I think men today have lost, what does it mean to be a man? But what is the pride in being a man? That's a tragic thing, because all of the other things come from that sense of pride, of duty, of honor, right? We've lost a sense of honor. We've lost that sense of pride.
And how can a man recover his pride?
It's a complicated thing, but I would say that it's first shedding the mindset, getting rid of all the excuses, all of the reasons, stop shifting blame, stop worrying about what other people are doing, or if it's easier for them or that, or only fan girls, or forget about all of that stuff and start saying, what do I want out of life and how am I going to get it? And realize that it's not about the attainment of things. It's not about the attainment of women. It's not about the attainment of any of these things. It's about the process that gets you there. It's about what you become in that process, right? Because if we think that the goal is to make a bunch of money or to get a bunch of girls, then we want to get there as fast as possible. Why not? Why would you not want to get the goal? But that's not the actual goal. That's not actually going to make you happy. It's not going to fill. What will make you happy, what will make you filled is growing self. And so those are the things that help you when you go towards the target of making money or to becoming good with women or finding your one. That process of going through the pain and facing your fears produces growth, which makes you a man, which builds your math. So I think if you can understand, if men can understand that it's not the attainment of those things are out there to give you something to grow towards. And what the real prize is the man that you become, then they'll start to see pride in that, why this is important, why it's important to do hard things for the sake of doing, right? Because even if there wasn't any goal out there, doing a hard thing in itself is a valued thing. It's going to do growth within you. And so I think that focus has to be on not getting the thing, but being the man. And once you have that focus shifted and you think about how can I become the greatest version of myself possible, right? Not external, internally. That's when
Yes. What a role do you think? How big is spirituality as a factor to achieve that? Because to me it seems like the only way to actually do this, what you just laid out for us, is by being able to like eliminate the past as much possible and like focusing on now, and which is a spiritual thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I 100%. I think it's vitally important. I'm a big fan of David Hawkins' work, books, Letting Go, Transcending Love Consciousness, Power versus Force. This idea of levels of consciousness is super important, right? At the lower levels, we have our primal need, kind of force, where the guilt, the shame, the anger, the desire, right? These are the things that we're usually trying to fulfill, and that's why we want money, we want girls, we want these things. But at the higher levels, consciousness, where we start to get into courage and we get into willingness and eventually to love, which is sort of the highest level before we the transcension of constant to more of one. That's where we really want to be. That's vital to understand that, because everything doesn't always come down to logic and reason. Even though that is a high level of consciousness, there's something beyond that. And I think that a lot of these universal principles are spiritual principles, regardless of whatever religion that you believe. I don't think that matters. I think it's this idea that you're going towards this metaphysics that are outside of just what we can see, that have some kind of value that is greater than just the wealth and the money and the girl stuff. Yeah, I think you have to see it from a level. The way I look at it in spirituality is conscious, or another way that I like put it is awareness, right? Increasing our awareness. Right? I don't believe in good and evil. I believe in a lack of awareness. I believe that all people try to do the best that they can, but some people lack awareness, so they don't realize the damage that they do. They don't realize also that when they harm another person, they're actually harming themselves because they haven't had that realization yet. But as a person gains that awareness, then they start moving away from fear and in the direction of love. And so I think that's critical for your development to be moving in that direction. Understand?
Yeah. Since you brought up David Hawkins, and you mentioned before that, you have mentioned that what men are actually lacking is pride. I just want to just bring those together because as I understand Hawkins in his book, he talks about the levels of awareness. And so courage is right there at the middle, where the negative energy transforms into positive energy, but pride is right below that point. So how do you reconcile that pride is a necessary thing at the same moment? I mean, it's also still in the negative. So should we really foster pride in men, or are we maybe talking about a different concept?
I think that's a great question. When I look at the chart of the levels of consciousness, I studied that for a while, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense, because are we if we transcend love, are we not going to be in love anymore, or are we not going to have courage anymore? And what what I arrived at, my conclusion is that the level we're at is the level we live at. It's where our home is, but we're still visiting these other levels or these emotions or these states, right? And so pride is a beneficial state, and it's actually that transition point. It's right before the transition between courage. So I don't think we should live at pride. Obviously pride is still better than a lot of the lower ones of guilt and shame and anger and desire. But we shouldn't live there. That shouldn't be our home. If we live at pride, then that would be the only thing that's important to us. That's all the way that we're operating, that's driving us. I really see it as those levels as what is the thing that is fundamentally driving, right? So for example, at the lowest level, at shame at 20, shame is driving, right? At the higher levels, at love is, what's that, like 600 or 600 because reason is 500. But then that's your driving force. And so even when you're at that level of love or above that level, you still have pride in masculinity, in being a man, but it's not the driving. The main thing that's the undercurrent, and I think this is important for all men, is that I think the greatest gift that a man's world is love. That's truly the hallmark of masculinity. Even if you go back to religious texts, right? If we look at Jesus, right? Regardless of your religion, Jesus is admired for one main thing, which is that he said that the greatest love that a man can give is to lay down his life for his friend. And so Jesus as a man, as the perfection of man and God together, what is the main thing that he does? His main thing is a sacrifice of love. And so I think that is truly where we should be aspiring to be. But I do think that these other things still exist. We just can't make them our home.
Yeah, totally. I agree with that. Actually, at one point in the book, anger is a similar thing. Anger can be useful because it's very energetic, so it can push you towards the higher level consciousness. You don't want to stay in a state of anger because it's corrosive from inside, and so but you can use it, push you further up the consciousness ladder, so to speak. Whereas apathy, for example, is just a totally destructive state for you. So it's definitely, so in the same sense, pride can be some form of, sometimes there's time and the moment for that, right? So yeah. Albert, Jerry is telling you're leaving, Jerry?
Yeah, I need to go because I have a coaching here with the student. Okay, I love the chat. I definitely will take some shots of the video, some clips to upload it. Okay, so after that, John, take my Instagram. I will follow you back, and this is going to be amazing. Yeah, stay here, Roman. And I didn't know John only in videos, but you are better in here than in videos, bro. So really, really nice.
Thank you, Jerry. Yeah, it was great meeting.
Thank you, bro.
This is an awesome conversation, actually.
Amazing conversation. Yeah. I will listen to everything later. Okay.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. See you, Roman. See you, John. Nice to meet you. Continue.
Thank you, Jerry. Yeah, I'm actually really enjoying this interview. It's a profound conversation on much more than just getting girls or something like that. It's just because as a guy, as a man, we go through these stages of development, and where as you get, I'm 47 now. When I lost my shit, I was over 40, and start over again was a really difficult process for me because just the reality of things. And so now what's really when I thought like, wow, this is exactly the talk I needed. We needed, because we the three of us, you just mentioned something. You were in this state of reinventing yourself. The three of us are in the same place right now. Jerry as well. He's got. He was coaching me a few years ago, like with women, and now just a few weeks ago, I was coaching him because he's also like, what the fuck is going on? Like having problems with his, and so I said, come, Jerry, if you're gonna continue to do the same things, you're obviously gonna get the same results. So we need to start doing other things that you haven't tried, right? Because he's like, I think what gets him out of his comfort zone is like the thing that he doesn't really speak English, right? Has not really tried that, and because I had suggested to him, why don't we just start why don't you hire some English dating coaches? I don't know, it's like two different things to get different results, and I started proposing with the newsletter, and now reaching out to like you, and so it seems to me like, I don't know, the life is just a mysterious thing, right? What a coincidence that because my reinvention is also going on right now. This is like, I'm reinventing myself, different country, I'm just making, I'm 3 months here now, and so we our path has like crossed in a point where we share this transformational thing right now, this reinvention, and so it's really inspiring. And then hearing your vision on things is I think this transformative. Very good conversation.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.